All right. As we always do about this time, sucker shit.
All right, man. You know, I was thinking
Uh-oh.
about my college days. Well, it's our college days. Back on campus, they had the Student Health Center. In the Student Health Center, they used to give out free condoms. They had it in the fishbowl right in the lobby. You know, they was doing their part.
Yeah.
For health and wellness.
Yeah.
Right?
You can call it that.
Yeah. So you had to be careful, though, going into that fishbowl, because they had different brands of condoms. Mm-hmm. And they had this one brand, it was called kimonos, right? So them kimonos was notoriously small, right? So I found this out the hard way, of course. Tried to use it one night and committed assault and battery on my own penis, trying to get that little ass rubber on, right? So what I'm saying is people could have good intentions, but they don't really give you the support you need. Right? So I was watching this movie on Netflix. It was a SAS something. The name of the movie's not important. We was talking about it.
Yeah, we was talking about it, yeah.
So this is what happened in the movie. Real, whatever, spoiler alert. So this dude, he's a government agent. He loves his woman. He gonna propose. He takes her on a train ride from London to France. It gets taken over by terrorists, trained ops called the Black Swan. He single-handedly damn near beats 30 of them, gets shot, stabbed, everything to save this woman that was a hostage, his woman. Fast forward to the end of the movie, they at a hotel, he proposes. She says no. He leans back and starts crying, and then she hugs him and says yes. See, that's some kimono shit right there. Man, don't you be believing that. That ain't the support you need.
That ain't the support
You better not lean back up against the wall and cry in front of that woman. If I gotta kill 20 terrorists and you still say no, I don't need your support. You offering kimono-like support right there.
Yes.
Kimono niggas on some sucker shit.
We're gonna have to put that one on the shirt.
I like that.
Yeah, man.
I like that. Welcome back once again to another episode of Skinny Black's Lounge. I am your host, Rob, aka Skinny Black. We have a new addition to this episode. To my left.
There you go. How you doing? Brendan Towns, JT son, or CT, as y'all call him on the podcast. How's everybody doing? That's all I got to say, man.
All right. To his left.
JT, period of silent. My mom.
And to your left.
The chair.
The ghost of Lebo.
Ghost of Lebo.
He's always with us.
All right, so let's hop into it. Let's start off by saying big ups, big shout outs to my man MTR, Mediocre Tutorials and Reviews. The man announced last weekend that he got cancer. So we want to send that brother positive energy of healing, comfort, peace, love, joy, laughter. Yo. Yeah. So let's hop into it. Turn me down a little bit. So we got a couple of great topics we want to dive into. The first one actually comes from my man CT. We're gonna talk about. We're gonna dive on the deep end about church and religion.
Oh, that came from me.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That came from you. So let's start out with a couple of questions. As far as we think about relationships, as we think about black relationships, as we think about the arc of time and how relationships have developed and where they came from and where they are today. So what role has church and or religion played in the modern / current versions of Black relationships?
Oh boy, that is one loaded one, sir.
No doubt.
Let's go in this direction.
Okay.
Our relationship with church is similar to our relationship with each other.
Speak on it.
From the woman's side, the new version of church has no judgment. Now, the black church is depending on what you look at, is anywhere between 70 and 80% woman, right? So at the most, you'll get a little less than 1/3 of the congregation being men, and that includes pastors, ministers, deacons,
Yeah.
all those guys, right? But the new church, the old church, it was more of a mix, and there was judgment there. There were standards, there were rules. Well, not in the new church. As long as you pay the 3 offerings, right, and say amen enough,
Your conscience is clear.
you don't have to worry about anything, right? So the men who were traditionally the leaders of the church, they don't set the standard anymore. That's just like our relationship. So our women had attitude. They could do whatever they want, say whatever they want, disrespect, do this, do that. And they gonna listen to the one dude up front who makes them feel better, as opposed to the dude they may have at the house that doesn't. Now, what have men done in this situation? Well, just like the church, we left. There's no men in the church, and then there's not men in the homes. Our homes look just like the church house. We absent. See, that was so good. He had to write that shit down.
Yeah,
I see.
I had to flow off that and talk about evidence, talk about data, and we talk about statistics, right?
Think about Fred Price.
Think about Ed Cash.
Remember Fred Price? That was his intro song. Whatever they started the TV show for church. Evidence. Na, 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 na. That's why I knew it was time to walk to church with my grandma. My grandfather was watching Fred Price upstairs before he turned the football game on. He's like, that nigga lying. He ain't gonna watch that whole Fred Price.
You're gonna get about 30 minutes of that.
Man, come on.
Then you're gonna watch that pregame.
Exactly.
So to speak to that point, if we think about there's more Black women than there are Black men. Yet there's a higher percentage of Black men who are married than there are Black women who are married.
It's a higher percentage and a gross number, both.
So we have to ask ourselves if women have taken over the lead and taken, no standards, as you say, and no judgment, and everything is cool. My question is, how's that working out for them?
I want to remix that a little bit because no standards is a little too far, but I would say that the standard is what's best for me.
Okay.
Both men and women have taken that on, but in our community, the women are in more leadership roles.
Right.
Right? What's best for me? How many times have you seen couples break up and then the conversations or the arguments are really about ego and themselves, and then you ask the question, well, what's best for the child? Well, I want this and this and that. Well, no. What's best for the child? No, man, No, man. What's best for the child? Okay, so let me ask the question to us. What's best for our community?
Ooh, that's...
See,
Yeah.
traditionally, okay, and in general, and just sidebar, in order to have these conversations, you have to speak generally because we don't know everybody's individual situation.
Yes.
So we ain't talking specifically about you, Clarence, and we ain't talking specifically about you, Rochelle. So anyway.
Right.
Somebody named Clarence, maybe they at home. I mean, he's like, why you talking about Clarence?
Clarence.
messed up my whole train of thought. Clarence ass. Everything about to see Chauncey, Clarence. I was like thinking, the hell was I talking about, man? Damn.
Nuance. It's not. We're saying this in the general sense, not necessarily in a.
Yeah. So we in general, when men do well, jobs. Look at what our communities were. Homes, families. Men are raised and taught to share our resources.
Yes.
Women aren't raised and taught to share their resources. Now they'll share them with Nordstrom's, Macy's, dealerships, whoever the vacation planner is, hot girl summer, da 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 da. So our resources don't stay in the community and don't build up our families. Our resources head out to other communities and build them up. So us not being together also has a great financial cost. It has a societal cost. It has a financial cost to our communities, right? So the church used to be the center of our community.
Yeah.
If you look at our social movements, if we look at our fight for freedom, justice, like I said before, the moral foundation, it was once that. But now it is as untrustworthy as the politicians you see on TV. So that's where 70 to 80% of our women are going to get the word.
Yeah. What's your opinion, youngster?
Just in general with church and religion, our family. I was raised in the church almost. Whenever I was visiting him for the weekends, it was Sundays, you're going to be at church. And if I'm ever there during the week, you go to the Thursday service or whatever service in the week. And that's where I was raised in. And as I got older, I started asking questions. And I noticed that people get offended just asking the question when it comes to church. And I touch that back to what you said about that lack of accountability or that space of we make our own rules. It is that. You question these rules, you question those feelings, you question what these people believe in, and you get attacked for it. And I've always felt a way about that as I got older, because with the church I was told, you get told, okay, this is an accepting space, this is a space for you to come grow in your faith, but it feels like you are skewed in one direction. That's how church has always kind of been for me. You always kind of, like, as I got older, I started to kind of peel away the layers of it and saw it wasn't that you're being pushed to grow how you want to grow. You're pushed to grow in a specific way. And that way is you give your 10% back to the church. You don't question the certain things that we are taught in here. You don't question the status quo that we are establishing. And there's goods to that and there's negatives to it, because you mentioned like our social movements, whether it be King with the Baptist Church or Malcolm with the Nation. There's always been a religious core to it. And it is cool to have a sort of faith as a tether for relationships, for community building and those things. But the black community has allowed that thing to be monetized to the extent where it has been corrupted like a rotten tooth. You just got to pluck that out and start something new.
So what role does that play in relationships with your generation?
So with my generation, it's very interesting, because I've started to see more and more people step away from the church. You have those people who, like me, we're raised in the church, right? And right around college, we all kind of had a turning point in our lives where you had people who I noticed in your generation, like the older folks, they stayed in the church. We're all leaving. And that's because in general, people don't want to be judged. And that's what people are viewing the church as a center of judgment, not necessarily as a center of growth, a center of spirituality. There are people who see it as a center of judgment, myself included, most of the time, because when we look at the things we get judged by in the black community, a lot of that does tie back to those old church traditions that we're still trying to figure out in the modern era.